Millennial and Gen Z men with degrees most likely to quiet quit. A new study from Washington University in St. Louis found that men voluntarily worked fewer hours annually on average between 2019 and 2022, especially those of prime working age. That's the ages of 25 to 54. And especially those with college degrees. Now, I'm going to repeat that because I want you to get what I'm saying. This study by Washington University found that men between the ages 25 and 54 who had college degrees worked fewer hours annually between 2019 and 2022. The study goes on to connect this to quiet quitting. What is quiet quitting? Quiet quitting is, I'm going to do the least amount of work. I'm going to deliver the fewest amount of results required to keep my job. I'm not going to go, I'm going to do the least amount I can do, meaning hours, excellence, results, all of it together. It means what's the bare minimum I can do to get through? In other words, for me as a high school student, I knew that if I got C's, Ken Sr. wouldn't kick me out of the house. So I did just enough to make C's in the classes that I did not like. Folks, it's the same thing. Do you know what the commonality is there? Boy, I'm going to step on some toes now. But hang on. If you get offended, I'm going to explain to you why you shouldn't be offended. But first, let's try to offend you. The commonality between me as a high schooler doing the bare minimum to not get punished or banished or whatever I was worried about was a C. I was doing the bare minimum of homework, studying, you get it. The commonality between that and quiet quitting is immaturity. It just is, folks. It's immaturity. You want to really, and I'm not trying to offend you. I'm actually trying to provoke you. I'm trying to provoke your thought. You can jump in the comment section, have a good debate about it. I challenge you to go really deep behind it and find a deeper source than immaturity. It's immaturity. I cannot control my emotions. I cannot control my actions. I'm just going to do what feels good. Ooh! And what feels good is to stick it to the man. I got a crappy boss. I don't feel valued. Screw him, the old man said in Legends of the Fall. And so that's what quiet quitting is. It became an anthem for, screw him. I'm only going to do the bare minimum. But what's interesting is this study. Now that we've given context, you know what's really interesting? Men. Come on, men. You know what's crazy interesting to me? And I'm going to give you the reason. You got college-educated men in their prime, most likely to be immature and just do the bare minimum. Now we got another sector of men. While the paper from Washington University suggests that college-educated men are doing the lion's share of quiet quitting, another paper from the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston showed that the decline in men's labor force participation over the last four decades, this isn't a now problem. This is an ongoing problem that is getting bigger. The decline in men in the labor force over the last 4 decades has been largely driven by working age men without a 4-year college degree. So quiet quitting, meaning the bare minimum, immature performance on the job, is college-educated men. But the men that are leaving the workforce that have not come back are non-college educated men. Ping-Wee Wu, researcher at the Boston Fed, said this, that men without a college degree are more likely to stop working or seeking work when their expected earnings fall in comparison to other workers. In other words, watch this. Do you see what's happening here? They drop out when they feel they can't keep up. Folks, this is a social problem, not a policy problem. Non-college educated men are dropping out. They're not quite quitting. They're straight up quitting. And the reason is that when they see that their expected earnings, that means their long-term vision of what they think is possible, their potential. I got to pause for a second. I hope you understand the depth I'm dropping right now. Not because I want a compliment. Do you understand we're digging deep here? No politician's going to talk about this. Hey, the dude with the great hair on ABC Nightly News, he ain't going to talk about it. We have a social problem here where men who are not college educated aren't making what they want to make, and so they're taking their ball and going home. The job and the income is not as important as their source of social status. You know what they're doing? They're creating a narrative that says, I've gotten screwed, but no man can screw me. Screw you. I'm just going to go home. And they're talking themselves into this decision to check out as a decision to hold out, to hold on to their dignity. And yet they're dying slowly inside. Because men and women, but especially men, derive a tremendous amount of purpose from work and contribution. It just is what it is, folks. I didn't come up with that. Go look at the social science and all you woke people who want to argue about men and women in roles. Let me just tell you something. Dudes are wired to drive contribution, to provide, to do something, to have responsibility. And women do it as well, and they're amazing. All right? But I'm talking about, we don't have a crisis with women on this. We got a crisis with dudes. So ladies, you're leading the way. I'll show you love. You're leading the way. Your man who's relying on you, he's not being a man. He's being a little boy. Got his feelings hurt. Got made fun of. So he quits in the middle of the kickball game. And oh, by the way, took his ball with him. Now I got a lot more to say on this. But what I'm doing right now is I'm painting a picture for you as to why millennial and Gen Z men with degrees are quiet quitting and why men without degrees are quitting altogether. And it comes down to one thing. They weren't taught properly how to be men, how to handle hardship, how to have grit. What they were is they were placated, they were rewarded, and they were never taught how to deal with failure and rejection. And their feelings are hurt. And I get it. Because when you stay in a season long enough where your feelings are hurt, it changes the entire way you see yourself. Men, I'm here to help you, but I am going to spit truth at you. Get out of the house.